Welcome into KSL Sports Rewind and our first ever bracket reveal show for boys and girls lacrosse. Thank you for joining us, everyone. My name is Dane Stewart. We've got a bunch of tournaments to go through. We've got the 6A, the 5A, the 4A, boys and girls classification, and we're going to get right to it as soon as we can. That's the order we're going to go. We're going to start 6A boys, 6A girls, then we'll go 5A boys, 5A girls, 4A boys, 4A girls. Stick around. We're going to work through those brackets, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about matchups coming up in each of those. And before we get there, I want to thank our sponsors, Heidemann and Associates, as well as Tribal West Lacrosse. If you have any lacrosse needs, Tribal West can take care of you. It's your premier shop for all your lacrosse needs. 9860 South, 700 East in Sandy. And Heidemann Associates, a full-service law firm with locations along the Wasatch Front. They can take care of your legal needs. Also, we need to thank Vince Francis. He's put a ton of time into this morning trying to get this structured. And so we appreciate his work. And it should be a fun day as we talk through all the the RPI seedings and the brackets. We're going to start in the 6A boys. And in this classification, 18 teams in it. So 2 first-round games, the top 14 teams all with first-round byes. Let's look at our first segment, Corner Canyon, your number 1 seed, and with that first-round bye, they'll take on the winner of the 17-seeded Layton Lancers and the 16-seeded Mountain Ridge Sentinels. Skyridge and Bingham, your 9-8 matchup, again with a first-round bye. Will be playing in that second round. Let's move down the bracket. There we go. Your 4-5 matchup, Farmington and the 4, Lone Peak at the 5. Harriman, your 13 to take on Farmington, and PG at the 12, a region battle there in that 5-12 matchup. That will be an interesting one in the bottom half of that bracket in the 4-5 grouping. Let's move over now, right side, and we will look at the number 2 seed. Fremont coming in at number 2. The Silver Wolves lost 2 of their first 3 region games. Came on strong, your co-region champs, taking on the winner of Syracuse and Copper Hills, that other first-round game. How about American Fork and Riverton, the 7 and 10 seeds? AF, boy, coming in a little lower than I would have thought in the RPI. Number 2 team out of Region 3, having to take on the Riverton Silver Wolves. And then we'll move down into the final quadrant here to look at that 3 quadrant, the 3-14 and the 6-11. Davis, your number 3 seeded team, another co-region champ out of Region 1 to take on Lehigh. And then Westlake taking on Weber. Boy, that 6-11 battle is going to be a good one with a real interesting potential quarterfinal there in the 6A boys in that bottom right part of the bracket. We're going to come back to this bracket, talk about matchups and potential future matchups a little bit later. Let's move to the 6A girls bracket as we will go through similar fashion. Again, same process in that it's 18 teams in this bracket, believe. And just so you know, I haven't seen any of these. So this is news to me as we go through all this. We're going to start in that number 1 seeded quadrant. Again, the top seed having a bye through the first round. And so we'll see that 16-17 matchup. But your top seed is the Riverton Silver Wolves. Not a lot of surprise there. Layton Copper Hills, your 16-17 matchup. How about Harriman and Davis, your 8-9 matchup there? A good battle there in that second round between the Darts and the Mustangs. As we move down the bracket, we'll go to that 4 seed quadrant. Again, all these teams having first round byes. Your 4 seed, the defending state champion Mountain Ridge, won a state championship 2 years ago, the Sentinels did. Bingham coming in at the 5 seed, the Bingham Miners to take on the Weber Warriors, and then Mountain Ridge taking on Westlake, your 13th seeded Westlake Thunder. We'll move over to the top right of the bracket, the other first-round matchup, the 15-18 seed, but let's see who is the number 2 seed in the girls' 6A, and it is the Fremont Silver Wolves. How about both the boys and girls coming in at 2 seeds for Fremont? Lehigh AF, a Region 3 battle in that first round, and then PG Skyridge, another region battle. Boy, that's a really interesting 7-10 matchup coming out of Region 3. Again, PG started off so hot in region and coming in the number 2 team out of Region 3, taking on the number 3 team out of Region 3 in Skyridge in that second round. Interesting there, 7-10. Let's move to the bottom right of this bracket. We'll look at the remaining seeds to be revealed here in that 3 seed quadrant. Farmington, your number 3 seed. Lone Peak, the 6 seed, to take on the 11 seeded Syracuse Titans, and Corner Canyon, the 14 seed. So Corner Canyon getting a first round bye, and they will take on the Farmington Phoenix. That Farmington team is really good. Lone Peak, defending state champions, coming in at the 6 seed. There's your 6A girls lacrosse bracket. Let's move to the boys 5A lacrosse bracket. This one, 24 teams competed in 5A this year. So we'll have more first round battles to talk through. And if every team is in the postseason, which again, we'll find out here in just a moment, your top 8 seeds in 5A, both boys and girls, would have first round byes. Let's look at that number 1 seed quadrant. A lot of intrigue. Who's going to be the number 1 seed in this 5A boys bracket? It's the Brighton Bengals. Brighton losing their last game of the year to Park City, able to hold off Olympus and Park City for that top seed. Boy, that's huge. Wasatch, your 8th seed, taking on the winner of Box Elder and West. Meanwhile, Brighton taking on the winner of Viewmont and Salem Hills. That Salem Hills team, that's an interesting one. Not an easy sled for Viewmont. We'll move to the bottom left part, that 4 seed quadrant, and see who the 4 or 5 seed matchups are here in the boys 5A. Your 4 seed will be the Roy Royals. In fact, look at that. Roy, the 4 seed, Northridge, the 5. Northridge had been 4 in the RPI before it got taken down. Roy beat them the last week of the season and lifts Roy to that number 4 seed. So Highland Bonneville, your 13-20 matchup. Spanish Fork, Cedar Valley, that 12-21 matchup. Those will be really tough second-round games, actually, for Northridge and Roy as they come in as the respective 4 and 5 seeds out of Region 5. Let's move to the top right. We'll look at that 2 seed quadrant. And looking here, Timview Woods Cross, your 15-18. Olympus coming in number 2. Question was, again, where would they? And Park City and Brighton fit. Olympus gets the number 2 seed. Alta coming in here with the number 7 seed to take on the winner of Bountiful and Clearfield. Boy, that would be a really good second-round matchup. The news here, Olympus, your number 2. Not quite enough to overtake Brighton at the end of the day, despite Olympus getting a big win the final week of the year against Corner Canyon. As we'll move to the final quadrant here in the 5A boys side. And, of course, your 3 seed will be Park City coming in at the 3 seed. Take on the winner of Skyline West Jordan. And then how about East? Is the 6 seed to take on the winner of Springville Maple Mountain. Boy, that would be a real interesting second-round game potential as well for the East Leopards. City, your number 3 seed. Again, stick around. We'll come back to the 5A boys bracket, talk through some of these matchups and some of the potential future matchups as games get played out, as we'll transition now over to the 5A girls bracket. This is another one where, boy, the top of 5A girls has been consistently strong. We'll be interested to see how those top seeds line out. And then some of the teams maybe lying in the weeds if they can make a push, and where they might run into, I think what most would declare is the 2 powers in 5A being Olympus and Park City. We'll start, as we have with the others, in our number 1 seed quadrant for the 5A girls bracket. I think I have an idea of where this will go. Let's find out. Your top seed, yeah, the Olympus Titans. 14-1, their only loss coming out of state. Box Elder coming in at the 8 seed. Box Elder got a big win late over Woods Cross. See if that can give them trajectory. How about Skyline, that 9 seed, having to play a first-round game against Northridge, Bonneville, Clearfield, your 16-17 matchup. Boy, that Box Elder Skyline game could be a good one as well, as we just saw Skyline take on Woods Cross this last week. Let's go to that 4 seed quadrant now. Check out the 4 seed and the 5 seed. West Salem Hills, your 2013 matchup. West Jordan coming in at number 4. Boy, great job by the Jags this year coming out of that Region 6. Brighton is the 5 seed. Bountiful coming in at the 12 seed as they'll take on Spanish Fork. The 2nd seeded quadrant here on the 5A girls. And your 2 seed, Park City, coming in number 2. No surprise there. Viewmont coming in as the 7 seed. Good seed line there for the Viewmont Vikings. Alta Springville, that 15-18 matchup. And Highland taking on Roy. Oh, Highland Viewmont, that could be really fun in the second round as well. Let's look at the 3 seed quadrant. And, Woods Cross, the 3 seed there. Okay, so Maple Mountain, the 6 seed. Cedar Valley, the 11 seed. East Wasatch, the 14-19. All right, so there you go. There's a look at the girls 5A bracket. as Woods Cross coming in at the 3, Maple Mountain, the region champion, down in Region 7, coming in as the 6th seed. All right, fives. There is your girls 5A bracket. We've got the 4A classifications to reveal, and in 4A, 2 16-team classifications on the boys and the girls side, and we'll start with the 4A boys side as Judge Juan Diego. How about a great push from Skyview this year, as we'll see where the top seed line is, and Judge Memorial getting the top seed in 4A to take on Hillcrest. Orem Timpanogos, 8-9 matchup. Payson Logan, 4-13, and Green Canyon coming in at the 5th seed to take on the 12-seeded Mountain Crest Mustangs. As we scroll down to look at the bottom half of this boys 4A bracket, Juan Diego at the 3 seed, Skyview at the 2 seed. So the Skyview Bobcats, with their strong 10-0 run in Region 11 play, get the 2 seed. Juan Diego, the 3 seed there for the Soaring Eagle. Ridgeline Jordan, the 6-11 matchup, Waterford and Bear River in the 7-10 on the boys' side. We got one more bracket, the 4A girls bracket. As you have a look here, Bear River, your number 1 seed, went undefeated this year. They'll take on the winner of Logan Jordan. Did fail to mention there is a 17th team in Uinta on the girls' side. Provo Mountain Crest, your 8-9 matchup. Waterford coming in at the 4 seed there to take on Orem. And Ridgeline, that's a pesky group, going to take on Green Canyon in that first 5-12 matchup in the second round here of the 4A girls state tournament. As we scroll down to take a look now at the bottom, Payson, your number 2 seed, Timpanogos, the 3. How about Region 8? Looking strong here. Juan Diego and Olivia Prosper coming into the 7-10 matchup to take on Judge Memorial in a rivalry rematch. And then Skyview, your 6 seed, to take on Uinta. Wow. All right, so there you have it. All the brackets right there for you, 6A, 5A, 4A, boys and girls. Let's go dive into these a little bit. Let's go back to the 6A boys classification. How about Skyridge Bingham? I think that's such an interesting game. Bingham, this year, they lost a couple region games. They dropped both of them to Corner Canyon. But you have a guy in Curtis Carlson, 37 goals this year, and Wahlberg's been really strong in the cage. I think this one's going to be really fun. Dawson Yates, 38 goals. Jackson Hansen has been strong between the pipes in that 8-9 matchup. I think that one's fun. How about Farmington potentially taking on Lone Peak? And that Lone Peak PG matchup, boy, that's going to be tough for PG. But if Lone Peak can get past that and Farmington can get past Harriman, we saw Lone Peak late in the year. And Faint in goal was fantastic for them. They have all sorts of options on the offensive side, including Seth Lambert, Ashton Gifford. And Farmington, meanwhile, they've got a freshman in Kai Binen, 38 goals this year. He's been fantastic as they've got a pair of sophomore keeps over 500 save percentage. That'll be fun. That's a really interesting one. And then, looking further on, you can get a Lone Peak corner semi. That would just feel right, given the rivalry these two teams have. Westlake Davis could be really fun, too. If Westlake can get past Weber, keep saying it, that Weber team, they got a lot of balance. I know they're the 11 seed. A lot of that was some tough region games. So that will be interesting. Fremont AF could match up in a potential quarterfinal as they did last year as well in 6A boys. Boy, a lot of fun there. And the potency of Fremont back working up to a 2 seed. I'm sure they've got some boys up in Plain City pretty happy with that one as we look at the layout of this 6A boys. Really, the question is, when do you got to match up against Corner Canyon? They haven't lost a state championship or a tournament game since the sport has been sanctioned in the top classification, be that Class A or 6A. So Corner Canyon is still the team to beat in 6A, and be interesting to see if the other seeds can give them a contest this year. Let's move to the 6A girls side. There were some interesting ones here. Just as we were going through the brackets there for 6A girls, one of the things for me that stood out, Corner Canyon, last game of the year, the Lady Chargers get a win over Skyridge. This was a Skyridge team that finished third in Region 3. They were 11-4 heading into that game, 7-3 in Region. Corner Canyon, that win propels them out of a first-round game. So the Chargers getting that first-round bye to take on Farmington in that 3-14. But let's look at let's go to the bottom left here because for me, I think Riverton, that top seed, I don't say they have a paved path. You've got to bring it every night. But I think Riverton's been so strong this year with Izzy Blunk. Those will be tough games if Riverton drops one. But when you look down at the bottom end of that bracket, potential Mountain Ridge, Bingham matchup, that would be really, really interesting. These two teams finished neck and neck, second and third, respectively, out of Region 3. Of course, Mountain Ridge won the state championship 2 years ago with Coach Brusha. And Bingham, boy, with Sophie Curtis, 53 goals this year. She's been great for the Bingham Miners. Clark and Chalk for Mountain Ridge, there could be a lot of goals if that were to be the matchup. But then Riverton taking on a Mountain Ridge or a Bingham potential Region 2, top of Region 2 semifinal game. Really interesting. Meanwhile, you look on the right side of that bracket. We already talked about Corner Canyon and Farmington. I think Lady Chargers is going to be thrilled with that. Meanwhile, Lone Peak, the defending state champions, having to take on Syracuse. This is a Syracuse team that is coming with a ton of momentum through their region schedule. That's not going to be an easy game for Lone Peak or for Syracuse. That's 6-11. Might be the second round matchup on the girls' side here in 6A. Fun matchups around, and boy, PG and Skyridge, those two teams, again, one game difference in region play out of Region 3, so that's another good one as they'll meet for the third time this season. Let's go check out the boys 5A. I know for me, the big question coming in was, who's the 1 seed, who's the 2 seed, who's the 3 seed? Brighton, Olympus, Park City, they all finished at 7-1 in region play. Your co-region champs, and Brighton able to hold it off for that top seed. And when you look at how that's going to shake out, that Wasatch game would be really interesting. Wasatch, a co-region champion out of Region 7. You could get Brighton, Wasatch, that 1-8 battle in the quarterfinal. Man, that would be a good battle. Meanwhile, Roy and Northridge, this is one that Roy win late. Northridge hadn't lost a region game. Roy had dropped one earlier to Bountiful, but had been on a tear since then. Roy getting that win, I think, allows them to jump Northridge. And boy, if you could get that for a second time, that was a gritty battle this last week between the two. We'll talk more about that on our coverage on the podcast and on KSL Sports this week. But that 4-5 matchup, really interesting to see both those two teams top of Region 5, just outside of the top of Region 6. Because, again, Wasatch, who's a co-region champion in Region 7, falling to that 8th seed. Kind of surprising. Olympus, the number 2. I think by most accounts, Brighton, Olympus, Park City, we kind of grouped them all being together. Park City having to take on East. That was a very low-scoring affair, if I recall correctly the first time. I think it might have been 7-3, something like that. Park City got the win. That Park City defense, so good. We saw them take on Brighton this last week. Brighton fans, I apologize for bringing up bad memories, but, man, Brighton scored 2 goals in the first 2 minutes, 2 goals in the first 90 seconds of that second half. 4 of their 5 goals came inside of a 90 or 120-second spurt to start the game and start the second half. That Park City defense, once it gets settled in, man, it is very difficult to deal with. East will have their hands full, and potential Park City Olympus semifinal matchup will be very, very interesting if those two teams can get to a semi to see that one for a second time this season. Really interesting. No easy paths here in 5A. Again, I just think that Wasatch-Brighton quarter interesting as well on the boys' side. Let's go to 5A girls. I think most people thought that on the girls' side, Olympus was the favorite. Hannah Baker has been so strong this year. Ane, others. Rossi's been great between the pipes. They returned so many players off of that group last year that fell in the state championship game. Coming in as the 1 seed. Box Elder there at the 8th seed. Box Elder, we talked about that win over Woods Cross. Woods Cross hadn't lost a game and then ended up losing their last 2. I was curious what effect that might have in the RPI, but Woods Cross coming in at the 3 seed. We do have the bracket here adjusted. Brighton is the 5 seed, so it would be a Brighton West Jordan potential quarterfinal matchup, rematch of that region game. West Jordan, what a year for the Jags. Did not see the Jags coming, and we had a chance to see them. Amelia, Lily Henderson, they're both over 45 goals apiece this year to lead the West Jordan offense. What's been a fantastic year, 13-3 for the Jags, those 3 region losses all coming in region play. One of those losses to the Brighton Bengals. And when you talk about Brighton, Izzy Gurley has been great this year as a senior. You look at Hughley and Lee, and then between the pipes, I mean, they've got Kiefer, who, when she's locked in, she can be tough. So interesting matchup there in the quarterfinals and a chance to have to take on Olympus. Meanwhile, you look at the right side, we talked about Woods Cross. They didn't lose a game until the last couple of weeks of the season, holding on to that 3 spot, which – Good on them, right? Man, what a start for the Cats' new coaching staff there. We had a chance to see him. Ella Matthews, senior with 55 goals. Dunn's a freshman. They got a bunch of players that can find the back of the net. That Woods Cross offense has been really, really strong. They'll have to bring it because Maple Mountain, your Region 7 champion, and Taylor Yee, 44 goals this season, string of a 616 save percentage. If those two teams, the 6 and the 3, get out of their second round battles, which, look, Easton Wasatch, who knows how that one might go. Wasatch was a really good team in region play, 3-3 in that region, got some nice wins. That could be interesting to see how Woods Cross compares to that. Woods Cross only had 2 non-region games this year, so how do they compare out of region? We'll see how well that can carry them in this postseason tournament. Maple Mountain, though, having to take on potentially Cedar Valley for what would be the second time this year. They beat them in the regular season. That 3-6, interesting. Then Park City, man, we saw Park City, McGee, Crawford. They've both been fantastic, 37 goals this year. They've been great. Sophie Neff has 36. I kind of said early in the year, this isn't a team that lights up the scoreboard, and then they scored over 20 games in like 4 of their next 5, or 20 goals in 4 of their next 5 games. So they can't light up the scoreboard. That Park City in the 2 seed looks like Olympus Park City maybe on a crash course. I think most people probably would have thought that. Let's move to our 4A. We'll give some final thoughts here on the boys and the girls 4A bracket, and then we'll show you the RPI and how this all shook out with those respective RPI calculations. Judge the top seed. I think most people thought that would be the case on the boys' side. Judge going undefeated in region play, 13-3 on the year. Rome Swanek, what a year, 60 goals for him. Sean Jerome's been fantastic. How about the sophomore Knight, a 564 save percentage to really anchor that Judge defense? This Judge team might be young, folks, but they are probably the most talented team in 4A. And if they continue to develop like they are, they'll be maybe the most talented team in the state in the next year or two. That Judge team is that good and will be that good. Orem, the 8-9 matchup against Timpanogos, these two second, third, respectively, out of Region 8. That will be interesting to see them fend off or take on each other. Pacing, your region champion, coming into the 4 seed there out of Region 8. Really interesting there. Green Canyon dropping to an 8 seed. That's a 5 seed. Sorry, bad eyes. Don't get old, folks. It's overrated. Skyview year 2. Want to talk about Skyview? They were 3-4 in the non-region, 10-0 in region play. Easton Ballard, 60 goals this year. Josh Moe's been great as well with 37. And this Skyview team feels like they are trending up. I don't know if they would have the ability to compete with a Judge. We would find out if they can get through the bottom half of this bracket. Juan Diego, the 3 seed. And talk about that first Juan Diego matchup. It felt like, man, they'd love another opportunity out of them. They got another opportunity to Judge, and it was all Judge. So, can Juan Diego find the rhythm that they have had really all year? 11-4 on the year. 2 of those losses coming in region to the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. They've got some nice non-region wins as well. That Juan Diego Skyview potential matchup in a semi would be really, really interesting. Of course, both those 2 teams have to take care of business. Ridgeline, the number 2 team out of Region 11, being the 6th seed there. That might be an interesting battle between they and Juan Diego. As we'll switch over. Again, I think Judge probably the favorite here. That's what I would say, but you never know. It's why they play the game. Not the first time that the favorite, especially in 4A, would fall short if Judge didn't get it done. But I do think Judge is probably the lean-on favorite here in 4A, and bracket probably shapes up accordingly. We look at the girls' side. We asked the Magic 8 Ball early in the year, does anyone go undefeated? The Magic 8 Ball said yes. Bear River was kind of my thought of who that would be, and they've done just that. Through the regular season, Bear River 16-0 on the year. How about the year for Mackenzie Mickelson? 91 goals. We talked about Olivia Prosper. She's right around 100. She's got 99 right now for Juan Diego, but 91 for Mackenzie Mickelson. My goodness. And then Shelby Wilkinson with 68 to help that Bear River offense, which has been spectacular. Could be interesting. Waterford, 9-4, 8-0 in Region 10 play. The 4 seed, that potential matchup with they and maybe Ridgeline would be really, really interesting for me. When you think about a Waterford team that I think defensively has been really, really good, and they score enough, right? Kind of been the MO for Ridgeline this year as well. So that'd be a really interesting second round or quarterfinal matchup there. Of course, I'm sure Ridgeline probably not loving the opportunity to play Bear River again. who would be. Bottom half of that bracket, meanwhile, you look at Timpanogos, the 3 seed, the second or the number 2 team out of Region 8, Skyview, your 6 seed. To me, the question really is who can compete with Bear River? Can anyone? That'll be the question as they aim to make back-to-back state championships here in 4A. Oh boy, all sorts of fun. We want to remind you the semifinals, the championships, we're going to be there for all of those in all classifications for boys and girls. Semifinals will be at Westminster. Championships will be at Zions Bank Stadium. And that will be not this upcoming week, the following week, Tuesday, Wednesday, semis, Thursday, Friday, championships. So you can catch all those games on KSLSports.com. Before we sign off, let's look at the RPIs if we can, if Vince has those ready. And again, I want to thank Vince. I know it's been a late night, early morning, getting everything structured for us to be able to pull this off. So thanks to Vince. Couldn't do it without him. As you have a look here at the RPI, Corner Canyon, couple point separation, they to Fremont. Davis right behind Fremont. Farmington coming in at 4. Pretty large gap there after that number 5 seed Lone Peak. We did talk about AF coming in 7. Was a little surprising there, given where they were actually in that region. To have Westlake be ahead of them, that one did surprise me. Math is math. Let's move on. This is the boys, by the way. We only have the boys RPIs. Our apologies. We only got sheets for the boys side, so we'll just talk through those. The boys 5A. A lot of interest. Would it be Brighton? Would it be Olympus? Boy, look at that. Percent difference from 0.75, 0.74. The difference there, 1-2. As Northridge, boy, look at that difference in the 4-5. Roy calculation very decisive there for the Roy Royals. I thought that would have been closer given that Northridge was 4 before this had been taken down. Look at that RPI for East at 0.60. That's really strong. Wasatch 0.59. Boy, there's your motivation if you're the Wasps, as if they needed any more. Your region champion at number 8 there behind Alta. Interesting to see how close some of those battles are. The difference between an 8 seed and a 7 or a 6 seed. Sizable drop off after that point as you have a look at the remainder of the 5A RPI. Let's go to the 4A boys. We'll take a look at this. I think Judge probably a little bit separated. Wow, Skyview not far behind Judge at all. Just over half of a point behind the 0.64 to the 0.63. Skyview, wow. Closed in on them as they went through their region schedule. Juan Diego tailed off a little bit. Figured with a couple losses there to Judge, that would probably happen. You see where Payson, that Region 11 champion, or Region 10 champion, is in relation to the RPI. Boy, not far behind Juan Diego at all. And then drop off to the Green Canyons, Ridgelines, Waterfords, etc. Interesting to see math. Calculation, for those who say, oh, well, I think people are manipulating stuff. It's all numbers, folks. It's all records. It's all calculations, all math. That's how it works out. Interesting to see those RPIs. We hope you enjoyed this. This was fun for us. That was the first I had seen the brackets. So I hope you enjoyed some of my responses there. It was certainly fun to be able to walk through it with you. Best of luck to all the teams in the state tournament. We have got an absolute great tournament coming up in each of these classifications. There are cases where there are, I think, odds-on favorites, but you never know what's going to happen in a game. First round, second round, quarterfinal, semi, or championship. You just never know. We are 2 weeks away from having state champions crowned in boys and girls lacrosse. We're going to take you to the finish right here on KSLSports.com. Thank you to the UHSAA for helping us to get this, to be able to put this together for you. We hope you enjoyed it. For Vince Francis, my name is Dane Stewart. Thank you. Join us next week. We'll have videos coming out on KSLSports.com. You'll want to catch the video this week, by the way. Dane went one-on-one. Well, technically 1-on-2. I was overmanned. It wasn't really fair. Got a chance to catch up with Davis Searle, Carson Isaacson out of Fremont. You're going to want to watch that video on KSLSports.com. And then we'll have podcasts as well on the Utah Lax Report. Thanks for joining us for our bracket release. Have a great tournament, and we'll see you guys championship week. For Vince Francis, my name is Dane Stewart. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.